SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine is costing an NFL assistant coach his job. Rick Dennison of the Vikings is out after 2 years as offensive line coach and run game coordinator. ESPN has learned Packers wideout Davante Adams is not expected to get a contract extension for now. He's in the final year of his current deal. He'll get $12.25 million. Texas and Oklahoma may make that move to the SEC very soon. It could be just weeks away. ESPN's Heather Dinich says the rest of the Big 12 was blindsided by this news.
Had you asked some of these people earlier in the week about possible dissension within the league, and they would have said you're crazy, right? And now we're sitting here with this.
Heather Dinich on Key J and Z. According to the Austin American-Statesman, the talks between the SEC and the two schools have been ongoing for more than 6 months. The Tokyo Olympics opening ceremony today. Tennis star Naomi Osaka with the honor of lighting the Olympic cauldron in her home country.
Brought to you by Capital One Auto Navigator, where you can find a car, get pre-qualified instantly, and see your real monthly payment without impacting your credit score. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar Levine Studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. No Brent yet. No Stewart. No Austin. You got your boy Marcel Robinson in here pinch hitting for the squad. It's been a while since I've been up here. Got my guy Casey rocking on the ones and twos. I got to say something, Casey. I'm a little upset because the last time I came up here to do radio, I wore my shades and everything was fine. Austin's computer screen has a bit of a tint on it, so I can't see the screen with my shades on.
Yeah.
This might be a bit of an issue. I might have to sacrifice swag for productivity.
Never. Got to look good for the stream.
Got to look good for the stream.
Don't sacrifice swag.
There he is. Sounds like
what's up?
Sounds like our fearless leader, Brent Martineau, has joined the party.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. It could be touch and go today. I'm in the mountains a bit here up northern Atlanta. Hey, you're an Atlanta guy, but you're not really an Atlanta guy. You're an Atlanta fan, like Falcons fan and stuff.
Yes.
But you're a Folkestone, Georgia guy, so you're not really too familiar with Atlanta, right?
I mean, I've been to Atlanta probably more times than I can count, but as I tell everyone, there are two things about Georgia. There's Georgia, and then there's Atlanta. Everyone I know bases their opinion on Georgia on when they go to Atlanta. Atlanta is the only place in Georgia like Atlanta.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I would agree with that because I've been to Savannah. I've been obviously up southeast Georgia, St. Simon's Island, to Folkestone, to Camden County. We've been to Buc-ee's at Macon a couple of times now. Bet that. I've been to Cartersville, Georgia, a little northwest of here where Trevor's from. I haven't been to a lot of the small towns like in the middle of the state. But, I mean, it's a good trip up here. Like we were in Alpharetta last night, early. That's where we're staying. Which is, I don't even know, would that be northeast, I think, of Atlanta a little bit. And then today we had to play in Pickens County a game, and it was like a drive. Seriously, I was like, am I going in the right direction? Like, is there a baseball field up here? And, yes, there was. It's a quaint little place, a cool little village town on the way up, a place called Ball Ground, I think, and then into Pickens County. Beautiful country, and, like, I really feel like I'm in Ohio at times, which does, of course, not feel like Atlanta.
Yeah, that's
so it's different.
Yeah, it's funny. Anytime I tell someone who's not from Georgia or even Florida that I'm from Georgia, they say, "Oh, you're from Atlanta?" It's like, no.
Well, hey, here's the deal today. Marcel Robinson pinch hitting. We had Stuart Weber yesterday. Austin Lane, of course, out these couple of days. He's got his weigh-in today. Fight night tomorrow in Orlando for Austin. We're on the road again with one more travel ball tournament. Got a W this morning, so that's good. So appreciate everybody really back home making things work. Casey included. He's having a great first week in the saddle of the producer booth, and he's doing a great job. We are going to have a shorter show today just from a programming standpoint. As you know, we're the home of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. They got rained out. I guess you guys had one heck of a lightning and thunderstorm yesterday. Rained out Thursday, and that means a doubleheader today. So the game will start at 5:05, the first of two. Coverage begins about 4:50. So we will not be here until our normal 6 o'clock today. So let's get a rockin' and rollin', Marcel Robinson. Been a while since we did this thing together. And the biggest of stories continues to be, well, one, the NFL training camps are right around the corner. We got some Devontae Adams stuff now coming out of Green Bay. But the big story in sports, and, man, I'm telling you, I'm stunned at how quick this thing has happened. Texas, Oklahoma, the rumors start flying, the reports start flying in the last 48 hours. And I was like, okay, these are reports. This is how this happens. We'll have some back and forth. There might be some posturing here. My initial thought was they're using this as leverage in some way, the Big 12. No way, man. It looks like they're out. I don't know if they're going to the SEC for sure, but they're out of the Big 12 for sure. See you later, Texas. See you later, Oklahoma, and maybe see you later, Big 12.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing when it first came out. It's like you said, when these things come out, it's just kind of like the rumblings. We hear the rumblings, but apparently from things that I've read this morning is that they've been, communicating to the quote-unquote back channels, for, I guess, the better part of a year now. Honestly, I'm with it. I like it.
You like it?
I like it. I do like it. I think it's one of those where it's different. I like it from both sides. I mean, from the Texas and Oklahoma side. I mean, those are clearly two of the bigger names, over in the Big 12, obviously, the founders of the Big 12, which is probably the craziest part. But, I like it. I feel like there's always been that talk between, the difference between Big 12 football and SEC football, specifically Oklahoma and Texas versus, our guys, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I like it. Bring the Red River rivalry over here to the SEC so we get a little bit more pull, a little plug there. And, I'm sure, the fans of Texas and Texas A&M would like to get back together too.
It's wild. There's a couple of things that are really interesting, and I said this yesterday. There's a lot going on in college sports right now, from the NILs to what does this do to expansion and conference play? Could we get to the 4-16s? Will we see a departure for like those 64 teams from the rest of college football at some point because of it? We've got expansion to talk about. Heck, if this happens, like Ty said this today, he's like, hey, you almost have to have expansion because you're going to have teams with a couple of losses in a mega conference like that you're not going to want to keep out of a college football playoff. The Auburns, the LSUs, the Florida, the Georgia, the Oklahoma, now, and Texas. But I'll tell you this, there's one thing about Texas. Texas has been nothing lately. We have to remember that. They really have not. I mean, they're not a big player right now. They're a big player on the scene of college football and other sports because they're massive.
Right.
They are Texas. They are the Longhorns, Hook'em Horns. They got their own network. They have that kind of following. But they have not been good. They are not irrelevant, but borderline that. Over the last 5 to 8 years in college football, will this help them get back? Will they be just a doorstep? I mean, Texas A&M's a better team right now, better program right now than Texas is in that SEC. But bottom line is, if it were to be an SEC landing point for both of these programs, I mean, it is just incredible when you look up and down that conference. In most sports, but especially in football, I mean, it's going to be pretty wild. It's really good for fans, good for football. I just don't know what it means for the Big 12.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the dissolution of the Big 12 is kind of, the kind of the bigger, topic here just because – and it's funny because when we first brought up around the whole, college football playoff thing, there was some sort of minor talk about, dissolving some of the conferences and kind of moving towards these mega conferences. Obviously, the West Coast, Southeastern Conference, and then, of course, kind of a mixture between the Big Ten and some of those Northeast schools, too. So it makes me sort of wonder, is that, where we're headed?
Yeah, by the way, Dennis Dodd reporting. He's had some things out here now in the last couple hours, but really in the last 5 minutes. Dennis Dodd from CBS. He said earlier today it was Texas, Oklahoma expected to declare intent to leave Big 12 as soon as the next day or two. Well, in the last 5 minutes, he has two tweets. It should be noted the recruiting advantage the SEC would have. Any five-star on the West Coast would have to give serious thought to an SEC offer.
Yep.
Yeah, happening now, but Pac-12 has to have its guns loaded for corresponding expansion move. Actually goes for remaining Power 5. Yeah, that's a good thought. But Dodd says, I'm hearing Texas football will play the Aggies and Oklahoma each season. in new SEC plan. So, again, from a football standpoint, if you don't lose the Red River rivalry, and you just get everything even that much more better than it already is in the SEC, again, I think we're going to be entertained by that. What the domino effect of that could be, that's down the line, and we'll have to figure that out. Let's hit on a couple of different things going on right now. Like it or not, the Cleveland Guardians.
Here we go.
Are you a fan?
I don't think I'm necessarily a fan or not a fan, to be honest with you. The Guardians.
Get off that fence, Marcel Robinson. Get off that fence.
The Guardians name, it's kind of meh to me. I'm only on the fence because I understand, obviously, the move that all the teams are making, trying to get ahead of everything. But at the same time, it's kind of like, when you think of, the Cleveland, how long is it going to take you to not call the Cleveland Guardians the Cleveland Indians? That's one of there's certain teams and mascots and names in sports that are just, associated with, that place and that sport. As far as whether I'm a fan of it or not, I don't know. Guardians is kind of a meh name, but I feel like all the teams that are changing their names these days are kind of meh.
I don't know if Casey is running around or if he's ready to chime in. Shed some light on it, man. Cleveland Guardians? You're a baseball guy.
I'm with it if their mascot is Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I'm with that.
That's the only. It could have been worse, right? Like it could have been the Cleveland baseball team.
You want a mascot, then, is what you're saying.
As long as it's Groot, I'm with it. Or Chris Pratt, I guess, if we have to go that route. But
there were obviously a bunch of different names. The logo's kind of cool now. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I can get with the logo. I'm kind of with the logo. I peeped it in. It's certainly much better than the Major League Baseball All-Star uniforms, but that's neither here nor there.
Those are horrible.
How much is this Guardians of the Galaxy related? Like, seriously, how much? Like, without the movies and that, does this even get floated? And so, in that context, are we going to get the Cleveland Indians stuck in a period of time, perhaps? Some 40, 50 years, somebody's going to be like, Guardians? Like, what the heck is that? Nobody watches those kind of movies anymore, or whatever it might be, what is there a danger zone there? Is it not just kind of like, I don't know if generic is the right word, but will this stand the test of time, I guess, is the question.
I don't know if there's necessarily a danger zone. I think the only danger zone comes from their promotional team, just to make sure that they don't cross the threshold of Disney and using too many Guardian of the Galaxy elements for promotional items. That's probably the only danger zone I see. I think you're right. I think it's kind of one of those things where I don't necessarily think it's Guardians of the Galaxy themed or related, but because of current times, obviously, in pop culture, we'll associate it with that. But, like you said, who knows, in 10, 15 years, the Guardians of the Galaxy might not be a thing. But I guess the hope is by that time, in 10 or 15 years, that maybe they've done enough to separate themselves from other elements and made a name for themselves.
We've said this a lot about name changes. We've had these discussions over the years. People don't like them originally, okay? It's like changing uniforms for the most part. The first reaction to any change is, that sucks. I hate it. It is. It's just, across the board, there might be somebody like, I love it. Yeah, well, they're in the minority, okay? That's not the overall view of anything that's changed. Uniforms, team names, colors. I give you the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. That was a very lukewarm at best response right away from going from the Suns to the Jumbo Shrimp. It's been a major hit over the last few years. So you watch, Cleveland will do some very cool things. I think the logo was really kind of neat. I think they have a chance to, it'll be, in a couple months, you're going to look up and be like, people are buying Guardians. What? They're saying what? They like that? I think we will see a shift in the paradigm here of opinion based on the fact that it just always happens this way. People just don't like it initially. I think this will grow on more people than we think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think just like you said, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp is probably the closest relation that we have to it, just because of the Suns being such a staple in the sports community here in Jacksonville. And when the name was changed, it was, I think you say lukewarm, but from me, someone who's obviously kind of quote unquote out there in these streets, everyone hated it. Honestly, the Jumbo Shrimp name, it was just kind of it just didn't click with everyone. We tried as hard as we could, but I think you're right. I think it's one of those things where, if with these name changes, like you said, everyone hates them. It's different. It's changed, especially in baseball. If there's anything that we know about baseball, is they're reluctant to change anything. But it's one of those things where you just got to jump. I think that I don't know how much sort of pressure they had on certain groups in terms of wanting to change. I know obviously because of what the Washington football team did, it's been kind of a side thought since then for all the other teams, the Chiefs, Indians, Braves, and everything. I just wonder, is this obviously something that they have a plan for? 'Cause if as long as they have a plan for it, then I think it works. If you don't, well then, oh well, here we go.
Well, here's the deal, just a little information, by the way, because I don't want to mislead people and say, hey, I know we're mentioning Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not like named after a movie, okay?
Right.
I mean, it's not because of that. But here's the team surveyed 40,000 fans, conducted 140 hours of interviews with fans, community leaders, and staff, considered more than 1,190 names before choosing Guardians.
I don't believe that.
I mean, 1,189 of them were that bad?
No, I don't believe that. That's cap. They probably had about a good 25.
And so what is the Cleveland significance of Guardians? Guardians reflects the attributes that define us while drawing on the iconic Guardians of Traffic just outside the ballpark on the Hope Memorial Bridge, said the Cleveland owner. So there is, a sense of pride around that in the Cleveland area that obviously probably doesn't exist much and translate much outside of Cleveland. But that's where the local tie of that comes in. So go get your shirts, your gear. I will say, again, I like the logo, man. I think the logo is pretty good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
The logo is pretty good with that. All right, hey, I want to touch on some of these big topics. Davante Adams now. Word is from Schefter, Rappaport, all the rest, that this contract extension talk and stuff that was maybe heading in a direction of getting Davante Adams a huge deal has hit a snag. No more talks are expected, was the last thing I saw. What is going on in Green Bay? And Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, are they kind of connected and linked, one or the other? Or package deal? Or could they both be gone?
Oh, man, that's tough. I think from the Green Bay side, you absolutely cannot let this happen with Davante Adams. Like you obviously what the situation was with Aaron Rodgers. There's no way you can do anything to upset Davante Adams, especially if they're in long-term talks. Like you got to give this guy whatever he wants, because you can't be the team that loses both Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams in the same year. What happens next between the two of them? I mean, obviously, all signs point to, which is crazy to say, Aaron Rodgers being out of Green Bay. I don't know if they necessarily go as a package deal. I mean, I think some teams would definitely try their hand at that, but that's one of those things where I think you probably have to look at and see, who. I mean, it's Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think you have to see whether you want them or not, but I don't know. I think Davante Adams, if what's happening with Aaron Rodgers isn't happening, I think there's obviously a little bit more of an incentive to keep the talks going. But if I'm Davante Adams, it's like, look, this is what I want. I was wanting the best, if not the best, arguably the best wide receiver in football last year. I feel like I should get what I want, especially because of what's going on with Aaron. He's not gonna have Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, so he's likely not going to be as successful as he's been. So yeah, go get your money.
Yeah, by the way, I think this ends up pretty good for the Packers anyway. I think I think this is a little bit part of the soap opera going on right now. And if I'm Davante Adams, I'm kind of watching how this whole Aaron Rodgers thing shakes out before I do sign a deal.
Oh, for sure.
Quite frankly. I think it's well within its rights to do that, especially if I can catch passes from that guy or potentially go to another team. So I would do the same and I would have cut off ties until I say, all right, what's going on with Aaron? I would have done that if I were him. I think he has that much power in play. I think what's interesting, if we go back to a few years ago when we were talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there was almost like this embarrassment kind of feel around the Jacksonville Jaguars because of what was going on with Tom Coughlin, the NFLPA, Yannick Ngakoue, Jalen Ramsey. And I think a lot of people were saying, what's going on in Jacksonville? I can't believe, of course, it's Jacksonville. They don't know how to run an organization. Well, a lot of our conversation at the time is things have changed. Players have changed. The dynamic of power for the player has changed over the years, not just since 2017, but really in the last decade. It's been gradually changing, but it really took a jump over the last 5, 6, 7 years, I believe, in the NFL. Mm-hmm. A lot of that with quarterbacks because of the salaries. When you make $40 million a year, you have a lot of power. And that's why we saw the Russell Wilson stuff. I think that's why we see a little of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. And I think we're seeing it with Deshaun Watson before all of his troubles. Well, my point in this is, we said Jags, the Jags are a mess, the Jags are a mess. And they were for different reasons in some respects. But now you start looking around the league, Marcel, and it's not just the Jags thing. You're talking about Pittsburgh, who had trouble with some of their players, from Le'Veon Bell to obviously Antonio Brown. You have Houston, who is an absolute mess right now internally this year in 2021, and we don't even know how that's going to play out yet. And now you go to one of the historically great franchises of Green Bay, and they have an issue. That was after Seattle has had a nice run, had issues with Russell Wilson, or somewhat of an issue, it sounded like, at least in the public opinion. So this wasn't just a Jags thing, is my point. Maybe the Coughlin mix didn't work. Maybe the Jags weren't doing everything correctly. I think this is more of an NFL thing. I think this is an organization thing across the league, trying to figure out the change of player, trying to draw a line in the sand. How much money can we give a player? How much power should that quarterback and player have? All these questions, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I just think it's a learning process right now for so many organizations because it's different. And we're in a new age of player right now in the NFL with all the money being made. And this is not the end of it. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Green Bay, it's not the end. We're going to see next year there will be 3, 4 other teams that have to deal with this too.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. I think that look, we know everyone outside of Jacksonville, it's fun to, quote unquote, pick on the Jags. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, and it's also, a lot of it's kind of related to the NBA. Cause it's one of those things where, the NBA, all the players have the power to do whatever they want. They control the league. NFL is not like that. And it's been this constant battle that we've noticed over the years with the players trying to take more power, more control, and the owners saying, well, that's not the way this is going to be. That's not what it is. And I think you hit it in there right on the head. Just that power struggle between the two. And the bigger the star, obviously, the bigger the controversy. And I think it's closer to being the norm than anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I don't know what norm, where that settles. You just really got to be careful. It looks like Kansas City is doing a great job with Mahomes and all the different stars and players they have. Yeah. We'll see if other teams take after them. And other organizations getting it done. Hey, we're just getting rolling. Short show today, only until 4:45, so we're going to jam a lot in. We'll do that. We continue on, live from Atlanta to Jacksonville. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, hot, and humid today. Look for some midday and afternoon showers and storms to develop and then shift more inland through late in the day. High is near 90 degrees. Clearing tonight into the lower 70s. Partly sunny and hot for Saturday. Only an isolated shower, but mostly dry. Highs near 90 degrees, bit lower at the beaches. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Meter is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where you can save up to 40% off with Christmas and July savings now through the 25th.
Where else can you get luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials? Only one place, at Culhane's Irish Pub at Atlantic Beach and on the South Side. It's as Irish as you can get, owned by 4 Irish sisters. And they've got fish and chips, of course, shepherd's pie. Go today for lunch or dinner. Eat in, order out. Culhane'sIrishPub.com for the full menu. And try the new Five Sisters vodka at happy hour. Luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials, and so much more. 2 locations, Atlantic Beach and the South Side. Culhane's Irish Pub, Irish sass with 5-star class.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your trend honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Anyone can talk like they're a big dog, but few actually walk the talk. We're not the only plumbing company claiming same-day water heater service. In fact, a lot of customers have called us after other companies failed to come through on their same-day service talk. Fortunately, Griffin Service delivers. We eat big dogs for lunch. And we fix what others can't. Some of that's knowing the science, engineering, and craft of AC and plumbing better than the Bubbas, but it's also better planning. The key to actually doing same-day water heater replacement is having water heaters in stock and ready to go. And that's what we do. Gas, electric, tank, tankless, we got them all in stock and ready to roll for you. So if you want to avoid the bait and switch turd bucket tactics of the Bubbas, or if you discover you're in the middle of an all talk, no walk situation with a wannabe, well, you know who to call, right?
GriffinService.com.
CMC 1250697.
We are into that travel, baseball, and softball season now for the kids, and with that, we need a reliable car, and we need folks that are tremendous at customer service just in case we need their help. Well, the place to go is Fields Auto Group. That's what we did. My wife loves leasing her Cadillac XT6 from Fields Cadillac, part of the Fields Auto Group. It's safe. We can trust Fields Auto Group, and hey, it's luxury for less while you're on the road. Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine are part of the Fields Auto Group family. There's also Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. It's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. We've tried the loaner program, gone in for routine service, and every experience with Fields Auto Group has been first class. Whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less. Check out their locations around Jacksonville. Just visit fieldsauto.com. Temperatures keep climbing, and hotter weather means your body needs more water. Stay hydrated. CGC Water Treatment wants to make sure the water you and your family drink is cleaner, healthier, and tastes great. It starts with the Connecticut system, proudly made in America and installed by the pros CGC Water. Not sure about your water? Call CGC. They'll analyze your water for free. I haven't had to worry about my water since I got mine installed because Connecticut systems remove up to 99% of the contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Connecticut makes the world's most efficient softeners, non-electric twin tanks that use less salt and water during regeneration. Save up to $500 on select softener and RO systems this month. Financing available with approved credit. Call CGC Water at 904-552-1242. Call and ask about Conway Club, the new service program that will save you money on salt, filters, delivery, parts, and labor. Tell them Brent sent you and find out all the details and all the great ways you can save. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Here in the Sunshine State, more than 3 million men are over age 45, and over half suffer from ED or PE. Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Brown. If you're having problems in the bedroom and pills like Viagra have let you down, you'll see results at Prime Men's Medical Center, guaranteed, or your exam is free. And it's affordable.
Call 904-664-8217. Guaranteed results on your first visit or your exam is free. Call 904-664-8217.
Without question, it's a personal choice, and I'm sure players, there are going to be some that have a very, in their mind, well thought out reason why they don't want to get vaccinated. It's a personal choice, and I think that would be fair and reasonable. And again, I think it bears repeating, guys. The fact that we haven't heard from the NFLPA tells us everything we need to know. They have signed off on this.
That is Mike Tannenbaum from ESPN talking about the vaccination, and that's more specific to the vaccination of players, and that continues to be a topic over the last 24 hours. We talked a lot about that yesterday. But then the news today that Rick Dennison, assistant coach for the Minnesota Vikings, is out as Vikings offensive line coach because he's refused the COVID-19 vaccine. So will we see more of this? That coaches, we could get the players, but it's a lot of money to lose now, and there's no opt-out kind of parachute this year for players. So could we see a little bit more of this from even the coaching ranks, where they don't want to fall in line, and therefore things are very difficult for them because we know, and we just have to remind people, from a few weeks ago, not yesterday's news, a few weeks ago, in buildings, on road trips, basically the entire operation, if you're vaccinated versus if you're not vaccinated
it's a huge haves versus have-nots list. You have to abide by an entirely different set of rules if you're not vaccinated in the NFL. That's just the way it is. And like Tannenbaum just said, the NFLPA agreed to this. They have not pushed back on this. And so they're on board with it in terms of playing games and getting players paid, and the league obviously making a lot of money. But Marcel Robinson, along for the ride today here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Austin Lane, getting ready for his fight tomorrow in Orlando. Marcel, this was I didn't see this one coming. I guess I didn't really think about it that much. But from the coaching perspective, Rick Dennison is out. They have to scurry to make a hire in Minnesota on the offensive line. Will we see more of this as the season approaches?
I think so, honestly. I think that when everything kind of first came out with the new COVID rules, I think that one word that kind of changed the whole landscape of everything was forfeit. I think that when the players were sort of expressing their frustrations and their thoughts on, what kind of the league was doing, because it seemed like as this thing has gone on, since the vaccine has obviously been offered, we've kind of gone from, hey, it's an option. If you want to get it, we'll give you the option to do so. We're not going to make you go one way or the other. And it sort of kind of transitioned into, hey, we're not telling you that you have to get it, but if you are vaccinated, you can relieve these restrictions, and you can do this, you can do this. And it sort of seems now the NFL sort of moving into a more assertive push into, hey, we're not going to say you have to get it, but you have to get it.
Yeah, there's no doubt you have. I mean, that's what the NFL wants to say without saying it. They've basically set up the rules to say, get vaccinated or else.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Now, and again, we can debate whether that's right, and I think there's plenty of debate whether that's right, especially amongst players. DeAndre Hopkins, heck, he almost threatened retirement yesterday because of it, and it really started a chain of reaction amongst players, including Jalen Ramsey and others. Mm-hmm. So that will have the debate. The difference here on the coaching staff is staff members and coaching staff and really all personnel people inside buildings are a part of the Tier 1 designation in buildings. And if you're part of that designation, there is no, if you don't get vaccinated, you have to do this. No, you have to be vaccinated.
Right.
So to be in Tier 1, you have to be vaccinated. And Coach Dennison wasn't going to get vaccinated, therefore he's outside of Tier 1. He's not going to be allowed in. Mm-hmm. And, there's different tier. Even some of the media will be in Tier 2 this year if we want to do one-on-ones with players.
Yep.
So there are different protocols for those folks, not just media, but there are other folks that fall into the Tier 2 category. And then there's another category which is definitely a little bit more loose but away from the team. And that will be also a good portion of the media, but there'll be less protocols they'll have to follow, but they won't be able to get as close to the team, if you will. So there's still a lot in place from last year in terms of the protocols. I just wonder now if somebody has strong – listen, there's got to be more coaches that have this belief that Dennison did too. He didn't want to get it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
So I got to believe this happens more over the next week or so, but I say that, Marcel – these guys have worked a long time to get where they're at. These jobs just don't fall off trees.
Right.
There's a lot of connecting and networking and hard work that goes into it. Oh, and by the way, they're usually pretty good paying jobs.
Yeah, right.
Dennison's been doing it a long time.
Yep.
It's kind of like anybody in a contract situation. If you got a pile of money in the bank and you're doing pretty well and you're kind of on your way out, well, you got a whole different situation than somebody that might be 35 years old, still trying to make their way and less of a pile in the bank to depend on. So Dennison might have been more in a position to be able to do this, while ex-assistant, here in Jacksonville or Miami or somewhere else, it's like, I can't afford to do that. Not if I want to keep doing this in my life. I got to go get vaccinated whether I want to or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way that most guys are looking at it, because it's just like you said, there's only so many of these jobs available. And I know some guys personally, that have, obviously been coaches and assistant coaches here that have jumped around 2 and 3 times just because of, the availability of jobs and everything. But in terms of how often or how we'll see this kind of play out in the future, I mean, I would definitely think that, more coaches than we probably think feel that way. I mean, it's one of those things where, especially if none of these guys want to be forced into doing something that they're not comfortable with. I think a lot of these coaches may be pressured into doing it because they do love their job and they love what they do and they love the team and, they don't want to do anything to obviously jeopardize what's going on, in the building with their team and all that stuff. So it is kind of unfortunate. I don't know how many coaches we may see take this particular route to say, well, I feel so strongly about this that I'm just going to jet. I mean, I can't blame them, to be completely honest with you, if that's the way you go. If you feel that strongly about it, that you just don't want to get vaccinated, that's what you feel in your heart, then honestly, I can't, I'm sure the players don't either. Like, I can't blame you for doing it. I don't think this is going to become like some, mass exodus of coaches saying, well, I'm not coaching anymore because, I don't want to get vaccinated. But I'm sure there's a lot of coaches, even right now, questioning that decision.
Yeah, the nature of the league, by the way, and this was a tweet earlier, and somebody said, hey, with camps opening, the team's first question for available street free agents is no longer, are they healthy? The first question is, what is their vaccination status?
Yeah.
And that is sincere probably. Like, it will limit the pool potentially of who you pick up when roster cuts are made or transactional moves. I think teams have to be very judicious in that, but they will be. I don't know if they have to be, but I think they will be. And that's going to be interesting to watch. Again, I've said this yesterday. I think the stories of some of these things that we're going to get with the vaccination stories, I think they won't come out probably from months. But I think it'll be referred to around this time frame. Like, there'll be stories in the Monday Morning Quarterback and other places like that, and there'll be these little anecdotal evidence of, back on July 30th as the so-and-so team and